Hi, Mark Warnke here, PackGoats.com. I want to show you the new hauler. Now just know, this one's made of aluminum. Two guys can easily pick it up and pull it out. I'm guessing its weight is in the low hundreds. I haven't actually put it on a scale, but two guys can move it around pretty easily. You'd be surprised. And this can be designed for any size pickup, so we can fit it to your pickup. My guy will build it special order for you, and I want to show you, because this is really the third generation of this thing. It took me building two different ones and then making alterations to each of those, so really 4 generations to figure out the right plan, and we now finally have it. So I hope to save you a lot of that learning curve, because these things are expensive to build. Number one is kind of the back design and how we did that. We want it to sit inside to the tailgate like this, and it works well, because then when you're loading, it's easy to have the tailgate out, and then it's kind of your launching pad, so they can step up and step in and go into the area. The other thing is this back piece in its ventilation. I closed it on my first design, and I never closed it, so I just took that off. It doesn't need to be there. Even when it's cold, you're still going to want some ventilation in there, and at a minimum have these open. We have front ventilation as well that I'm going to show you, but I liked having this open. I liked having the goats to have a way that they could see out, and it's just a better design to have it be open in the way that it is. These door latches function very well, and then we've reinforced the door, because the goats on the inside, if they get pushy with each other, they can create some real tension on this door and mess with the latch and stuff, so we've improved that design as well. Now inside, what we did, inside, for those of you that do want to tie up your goats in here, which I need to clarify with that. In my past videos, I've said I don't think you need to tie up goats, and most of the time I don't, especially if you load the same 4 goats or 5 goats or 6 goats every time, because they learn their space. They got to push around in the beginning, but they learn it. I'm doing a lot of injecting new goats, carrying with different ones in different groups, and I have a lot of goats. So for me, I find that when I put certain goats in there, they're just going to get pounded, and so it's easier for me to tie everybody up. So I put 3 on each side, so you can actually have it 7. So there's 1 at front, 3 on each side, so you can tie up 7 goats in here. This is a 6.5 foot bed, and I can easily fit 6 goats in here. 7 is too much, 5 is just right, but 6 will fit. So just so you have an idea of that. The other reason we put this bar right here is goats can climb through these little holes, and it makes it a pain when you're opening and closing it. So anyway, that's the back. Now if we move on to the reason to have this. The reason to have this setup is that it's very difficult to figure out how to haul goats and not have all your gear taking up all the cab room. So this is a way where you have enough to do 6 goats and all their packs, because there's 1 of these on each side, and you have a full storage. Now if you look at the depth of this, this thing is really deep. Your panniers will go to like right here, and then all the saddles stack on top of it. So there's tons of room for gear and coolers and backpacks, and I mean, we'll take a big string of goats and put everything in here, even when I have the horse trailer and we're combining and taking, you know, like 12, 13 goats, which I'll do between this and my horse trailer. It handles it all, and almost all my gear can go right here inside the bins. And so the other thing about this, has been quite a process to figure out how to keep this waterproof. It sounds kind of silly, but it's actually been quite hard because of how the water runs off the top and everything like that. We got that part figured out in this design as well. So we're really super happy with how that goes. Now, bear in mind, you can have this built in steel or aluminum. Steel is less expensive. Aluminum's pretty expensive as a material, and it's harder to weld. So with aluminum, you're going to be in that 4,500-ish mark, give or take. Aluminum seems to fluctuate quite a bit in prices, so just know that, you know, that's variant based on the price of the actual steel itself. My guy works cheaper than most guys, and I've had people try to get this thing done for less with their guy, and they can't even get close. I mean, I see a lot of numbers in the 55s and 6,500s and 7,000 and stuff like that for this thing to be as tricked out as it is and have all the things that it does and have it custom built to your truck. At, you know, that kind of number is really affordable. You'll also notice that I put tie downs out here. My truck is kind of where I load everybody, so I had one put front and back on this, and then I'll use my hitch and I use my bumper it works really well. And if you come around here, kind of the last component, so the last component is this ventilation, and this front ventilation can easily be accessed off of the inside of your truck, and you just roll up in here, and we have 5 of these. Now these create a ton of ventilation, and so the key part with this, and it's winter time, so I like to ride with them closed, but the key part of this is that that wind comes over the top of this truck, goes through there, and that wind stays on the top and then rolls out that window in the back. So you don't get a lot of billowing, which the billowing is what creates lots of dust, and it's bad for their lungs. And you know, they're constantly in this big giant like a tornado back there of hay chaff and that sort of thing. If you keep the wind on top, then it's not billowy, and it works really well, and it ventilates really well. For anybody questioning how hot this design is, it's not at all. In fact, my first design of this was jet black. I painted the roof white and never had overheating issues, and we get temperatures over 100 a lot in Idaho. So don't be concerned about overheating. The ventilation is awesome. It works great. It's tested. I feel 100% confident in all that stuff. So that's the hauler. It has made my packing life so much easier. Remember, the advantage of having it in the back of your truck is that number one, you have the truck suspension. So the truck suspension itself is a lot easier on those goats when you're hauling them, and this also lets you get to those trailheads that you just can't get horse trailers to, which is a lot of them. It lets you get to stuff that nobody else can get to. No motorcycle trailers, no horse trailers. When you can haul your goats in the back of your truck, you have a huge advantage. The only thing you're limited by in this design is the number of goats you can haul, because you can do more in a horse trailer. One last thing to keep in mind, if you want to build this yourself, I understand. A lot of you guys are super handy and you want to get it done. We do have a DIY blueprint that you can actually get from us online too, that'll help you to not have to go through all the learning curve and how things are structured, because again, one of the problems with this is just function, form, and rigidity, and how to make all that tie together and work. We put a lot of time and energy in and multiple protos to get to this point, so I highly suggest if you want to have somebody at home build yours, or you want to build your own, that you get our DIY kit on this. So I hope that's helpful. Mark Warnke, PackGoats.com.